the PAC, which was the original leader of the Sharpeville Day, are back in Sharpeville today to mark Human Rights Day. The party has always called for the day to be known as Sharpeville Day. Let's touch base now with our political reporter, Nhlanhla Kgatlana, who is in Sharpeville for us this morning. Nhlanhla, of course, a very poignant moment there for the PAC, saying that South Africans should remember and really essentially mark this day as Sharpeville Day, saying there, and of course, talking about the significance of Robert Sobukwe in as far as this day is concerned, and also the role he played during the 21st of March 1960. Talk to us about who's there at the moment and what are the leaders saying?
Yes, well, thank you so much indeed. As we continue with this live coverage of the 65 years commemoration of the Sharpeville Massacre, what I can tell you is that political parties are gathered here at this memorial place where they are here to pay their respect with regards to what happened 65 years ago. With us, I'm with BOSA leader Mmusi Maimane, who's just going to talk to us with regards to commemorating 65 years of the Sharpeville Massacre, 30 years into democracy. Can we proudly stand up and say that we are on the right path?
No, I think freedom is undermined by poverty. Freedom is undermined when a citizen loses their right to stand up for who they are. And I think if we remind ourselves what today was about, these were Africans saying, no pass will be able to tell me who I am. And I owe a great deal of gratitude that I stand as a generation today who never have to carry passes, who live in a constitutional democracy, who say, actually, we can associate with whomever we like. The struggle, though, has been betrayed by two things. An economy that has failed, because ultimately when people are poor, it undermines their dignity. Poverty does. And when you have a government that cannot deliver and bring capability, it means the very essence of human rights is undermined. When people don't have water, people don't have safety, those rights are taken away. So when we commemorate Human Rights Day, we must remind ourselves equally so, that whilst we've made constitutional strides and the right for self-identification and the right to be part of an Africa and a continent, our economy and a failing government will erode those rights. And therefore today is about picking up the baton to say, when they fought for the legal removal of apartheid laws, we have to make every effort to remove the economic impediments, educational impediments, and ultimately delivery impediments for citizens. So today is about picking up that baton and fighting forward. 30 years on, we are nowhere near where we should be. The struggle indeed must continue. And part of the next generation of leaders who pick up the baton must be, let's make sure everybody's got water. Let's make sure we got electricity. Let's make sure we can create an economy. Otherwise, generations will come from tomorrow and say, our children are still being identified by the color of their skins or the circumstances of their birth. If they are born poor, they are destined to poverty. We can't afford that as Africans. We got to fight harder.
One last question from me. Just your view in terms of what's been happening with regards to United States of America and South Africa. There seems to be like a war happening there. What's your view with regards to what transpired in past couple of weeks?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think what's important for South Africa to come back to is to how do we build a united, prosperous South Africa, build one South Africa. When you've got institutions like AfriForum and many others who go and misrepresent South Africa, they sow seeds of division in our nation. And therefore what ends up happening is that the gains of the last 30 years run the risk of being eroded by elements, whether those are AfriForum, whether there's representation from the DA, and many others, that divide us as a nation. We have to come back to standing together, reclaiming our sovereignty, so that whatever the proclamations of the United States are under President Trump, our job must be to grow an economy, adopt pro-growth policies, have bilateral trade that is beneficial to both countries between us and the US, and ultimately be able to say, on PEPFAR and issues like that, Africa must build its own fund so that we can look after people with HIV. But I think it's a moment for us as South Africans to stand united and own the destiny of our continent by building a growing economy that comes from here. Otherwise, the winds and the waves that blow in other parts of the world, today it's the US, tomorrow might be China or the EU, all of those winds will always impact us until we build a growing economy and the sovereignty of our nation.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Maimane. That's Mmusi Maimane there, BOSA leader. Without fail, he has always made time to come and, join the PAC on this day, to come and commemorate, the lives that were lost 65 years ago. Studio, with that being said, it's back to you.
That's there for us as we continue our rolling coverage then of marking this day, Human Rights Day.